All right, so now let's take a look at Meta advertising environment. I already mentioned that Meta rebranded itself a few years ago, and before that it was called Facebook. And right now, still we have many different platforms under this umbrella of Meta, namely Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. And also we have something that's called Meta Audience Network. It's not part of Meta's platforms or apps, but those are the websites and applications that have partnered with Meta, so you can also use their internet space, free available inventory, that's called in marketing terms, to also showcase your ads in that inventory. So basically, you probably are familiar with those 4 platforms and probably you have used them in your everyday life. Facebook is the biggest social network in the world, used by almost 3 billion users worldwide. And if you're curious if your target audience is using Meta platforms, remember that it's almost half of the entire world that you can use with Meta. So they are there. And some people are saying, okay, but people are leaving Facebook, right? So they are not really there, and so just for old people. And that might be true, especially in developed countries. But the beauty of Meta is that you can also use these apps interchangeably. So you can create your ad and show the same ad in all 4 platforms, both in Facebook, on Instagram, also WhatsApp and Messenger. And if you're looking for target younger demographics, you definitely should consider Instagram, especially if your product or service is more visual, more visually appealing. And even more so if you can create very engaging short-form videos, because recently Meta is pushing video content. They're trying to go after short-form platforms like TikTok and YouTube actually. So a couple of years ago, Meta also shifted their focus and they were focusing heavily on this video content. So if you're considering different creatives for your ads, video ads should definitely be at the top of your priorities, because first of all, Meta algorithm pushes them a little bit more. And second of all, there's just usually more engaging. They're more engaging, and if you're using them right, you can capture people's attention faster and thus increase the chance of selling your product or service. Then WhatsApp is usually used for communication. You cannot really use WhatsApp as a placement as of yet, but you can use it as the destination. So for example, if a person sees your ad on Instagram or on Facebook, you can direct the link once they click on it to straight go to WhatsApp message, for example, initiate the message with them. Same for Messenger, but you can actually also use ads on Messenger. I usually don't use a separate ads for Messenger, but Facebook usually, or Meta usually asks to use recommended placements, which is all of the placements. So you can also show your ads on Messenger, but if you don't want to waste your budget, you can just pick and choose which channels to use and which channels not to use. But I definitely recommend Facebook and Instagram to be on the top of your list. So now let's take a look at the significance of Meta in digital marketing. Basically, Meta is definitely number 1, the top dog when it comes to social media advertising. They're the biggest, most used, most widely adopted platform for advertisers. They have the biggest market share, they have the most diverse targeting options, they have the most diverse placements, and the most robust performance tracking. You will not find another social media platform like Meta, in this context Facebook and Instagram, where you can really pick and choose your demographics as narrowly as in Meta. You will not find better algorithms than Meta algorithms. You will not find more diverse targeting options than in Meta. So there are many upcoming platforms like Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat, Reddit, and once you will get more into those platforms, you will notice that their ads manager, their tracking, their placements, they try to copy everything from Meta, because Meta is the king. Meta is the undisputed leader of social media advertising. And once you learn Meta advertising, it's so much easier than to try and do TikTok advertising, Pinterest advertising, Snapchat advertising, because their ads managers are so similar to Meta that it's very easy to understand what's going on and adjust your efforts to those platforms. But even without them, if you are working for a small business or if you are a small business owner, it's quite easy to get started with Meta. And that's why we are here to teach you how to get new clients, get new brand visibility, and how to succeed online with using paid advertising on social media. And let's start with Meta. One of the key benefits of Meta advertising is their integrated advertising system. First of all, we have to talk about cross-platform reach. So basically, you can target your specific audience with your target demographics, age, location, interests, etc. And you can target those users throughout all of the platforms that Meta currently owns. So you don't have to choose, okay, I need only Instagram and find this specific audience here. Meta has all of these data points connected. So they basically know your target audience, both where they are on Meta and on Facebook. So when they're gonna show impressions to them, an impression basically is unit of an ad that someone has seen. And once you have taken measure of how many impressions you have got, Meta knows how many times each user have seen this impression, this ad, and how many impressions in all of the platforms combined there have been. Also, what sets Meta apart from other platforms is that they have unified ads manager. As I already mentioned, there's several platforms under the umbrella of Meta. And here we can just use one ads manager to pick and choose the target audience, the placements, the campaign objectives, and launch all of these different campaign elements from one campaign, one platform, one ads manager. And finally, seamless ad experiences. So basically here we can use the same platforms under this Meta umbrella to have the seamless experience. For example, we can use Instagram ads to showcase a reel, for example, where we introduce our target audience with our new offering or service or product or service. And then we can choose Facebook, for example, as a placement and get all of the audience that have seen the previous video and retarget them on Facebook. So once they have seen your first ad and become aware of your product, we can gather all of those people who have watched, for example, 50, 60, 70, or 100% of your video and retarget them on Facebook, where we can ask them, okay, we have seen that you know what we are, and we have this nice offer for you. And if you buy it now, you can have a discount, for example. But we're gonna touch the point of retargeting later on in this course. So now let's talk about Meta algorithm. Meta machine learning algorithm. So basically how it works, it's quite a mystery actually. No one really knows how it works in practice or behind the scenes because it's confidential information. And it's actually one of the biggest secrets that Meta has because their algorithm is very unique. It's probably the oldest and the most robust system that there is. And over the years, your campaigns are more reliant on the algorithm than on your inputs. What I mean by this is basically during the past couple of years especially, there has been a big shift from what you choose in Ads Manager and what settings do you put or what demographics you put there and what's happening behind the scenes in the Meta algorithm. And if before smaller audiences worked better because you knew better who your target audience is, then right now the bigger audiences actually work better because Meta has more data to work with. They have more people they can reach and their algorithm can analyze what has worked, why has worked, and to what people to show this ad. And for example, in the very beginning, they will show your ad to very narrow audience, let's say 100 to 1,000 people. Then they will see how many people of those clicked on that ad. Then the algorithm will try to analyze, okay, what's special about these few people that clicked? What interests do they have? What demographics do they have? What's common in all of those people that clicked? Once they will know and find that commonality, they'll try to expand this target audience and show it to even more people that are similar to those first people. And then iteration, the algorithm will learn, and hopefully it will not get just impressions or clicks, because it probably will start learning firstly by impressions. How much time did you spend scrolling or looking at the ad? Next, it will look at the clicks. Okay, which people clicked? And if they clicked on the ad, did they go to the website? So that will be very important secondary metric. But the most important metric is the people that bought or registered or whatever your target conversion was. Because if the algorithm knows which people clicked and registered, it can then optimize itself and find similar people, relevant people to show your ads to, and thus having higher chances to convert. So that's how the algorithm works in a nutshell. Here we are gonna talk about the structure of your ad account. And at the top of the things, we have the business suite account. This is actually a new concept. Well, fairly new. Meta introduced it a couple of years ago. And honestly, I haven't really used it yet because I stick to the basics, which I learned many years ago, maybe 7 years ago. But the main place where you will probably end up, if you follow this course, will be Business Manager. And in Business Manager, we do all the practical things that are relevant to our business. We find all the assets there, like Facebook pages, Instagram accounts. Also, we give permissions inside of Business Manager. So if we own a business or we work for a business, we can choose which people to allow to manage our campaigns or to just utilize the Business Manager. And also, that's the place where we store all the data. So we're going to talk about the pixel and the conversions API, but this is also the place where we store all of these elements that are important for advertising. So under this Business Manager, we can also create and schedule posts. Well, actually, under the Business Suite account, we also create and schedule posts. We find the Ads Manager, and this is the main place where are we gonna build and launch our campaigns. There's also Events Manager, where we find our pixel and conversions API, and Creative Hub, where we can create ads and the visual representations that we're gonna showcase to our target audience. So the main place where we are gonna launch our ads is the ad account, and under one ad account, and I suggest creating a separate ad account for each business entity if you have several. And under each ad account, we can create multiple campaigns. Each campaign should be created for a specific goal, for a specific reason. And before you create any campaigns, first of all, you definitely need to know the strategy. Why are you doing this, right? But once you know your strategy, then you can create an ad or campaign with a specific objective. And we're going to talk about them shortly, but mainly those are three different funnel steps, either awareness, consideration, or conversion. And the most important business goals happen at this conversion stage, and it's usually leads or sales. And after we have chosen this campaign goal, then after each campaign, we can have multiple ad sets. An ad set basically is the way that we target our target audience. We choose the demographics, interests, and behaviors of our target audience. And also we choose which placements do we want to show our ads in. So we can, for example, choose our target demographics. Maybe there's many different target demographics that we want to choose. And usually it's better to separate them in different ad sets, because sometimes we want to use different creatives for different audiences, like maybe a different creative for males and different creative for females, or maybe different creatives for different age groups, and the same for placements. So under each campaign, we can have multiple ad sets. And then under each ad set, we can have multiple ads. And that could be, and also these ads can be made in multiple formats. They can be visuals, like static images. It can be carousels, it could be video ads, or maybe galleries. So many different options we can choose from, and we're gonna definitely take a look at them later on in this course.